After yesterday, I was like, this is gonna be the easiest NaNoWrimo of my life. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm gonna write 50,000 words in a day.
Thank you. Perfect. Thanks, you too. Are you shocked? Did you think that I got up at 5:30 every morning and made my perfect little coffee and had my cute little morning writing routine and like was super productive every morning? I mean, that's the goal. Well, I woke up at my alarm at 5:30 and I was very more tired than just tired. And so I was like, you know what? I'm at 5,000 words. I think I have all of tonight. Like, I don't have anything this evening. I think we'll be okay to not write this morning. And so, and then I was like, it's NaNoWrimo, we're off to a great start. Let's grab a coffee. I've been thinking about what my goal is now going to be, because when I put my stuff into NaNoWrimo yesterday at 5,000 words, it said like, oh, you'll be done by November 10th. I mean, I don't plan to write 5,000 words every day, but probably 3,000, honestly. And I would finish pretty quickly. And so I think what I'm gonna do is have my plan shift a little bit. Oh, this is really good coffee. I think instead my goal is gonna be somewhere around 80K, potentially more. But my true goal for NaNoWrimo is to actually finish a draft of this book. Like, get from beginning to end hitting everything, because most of my first drafts are between like 70 to 90,000 words. And that's kind of how I see this one as well. So how awesome would it be if at the end of November I had like a full finished draft of a book? Because every time I've done Nano, it's been like the first 50,000 words. So it's usually like half, or I'm in the middle of Act 2 or somewhere, and then I spend the rest of, honestly, like the rest of the winter finishing that first draft, which I don't hate, but like, how awesome would it be to be able to just stay in this energy and this flow and in this story for so long, like, and not have a bunch of big breaks in between. I'm still like, I don't know if you guys, this is wild. This is wild. It's like watching people like, oh yeah, I just did a 10K really quick. And I'm like, I feel like I'm the equivalent of that right now. I just made the most direct eye contact with this woman in the drive-thru. Anyway, get yourself a coffee. Even if it's just at your house. Treat yourself. It's NaNoWrimo. We love to see it. I will see you this evening for some writing. Hello, welcome back to my car. It's the end of the day, but it's really the beginning. Hi, it's 5 o'clock. And I thought I would, instead of facing directly the traffic of 5 o'clock, I would instead sit here and talk to you. And I just want to talk through my plan for the evening, more for myself than for anyone else. I'm gonna get home probably around 5:30, and then I think I'm gonna write from probably like, I'm gonna say 6:30 to 8, or however long it takes to get to 3,000 words. I think I'm gonna need a little bit of time right at the beginning to think about the scene a little bit, because it's actually, I think it's my first time ever writing from a male POV. And I didn't think that would like impact me that much, because I've read a lot of male POVs and like, it's not really that extremely different. And I have an outline of what the scene is next that I'm writing, but there's just some things about it that I don't know exactly. Like, there's a lot of like phone calls happening. He was on the phone and he's getting another call, but he has to call another person. And like, all of those calls together reveal information about him and about the situation. But I just need to figure out, like, in my head first, like, how do I structure the phone calls to be an interesting scene? Like, is he already on the phone? Is his phone call interrupted? Like, I just need to, like, do some, like, phone call choreography, because I know what happens in all of the phone calls. But also I'm like, is it boring to have a bunch of phone calls? But I'm like, I always love a phone call in a book. I have a lot of energy, and I don't know what that's about. I think it's, like, finally being done with work. Not that work was even bad. It's just, like, I feel like I'm, like, the morning, I'm like, ooh. And then I go to work, and I'm like, work, professional, woman, working, shaking people's hands, editing, blah, blah, blah. And then I get out and I'm like, oh, wow. I don't know what the singing is about. Anyway, so I'm not going to the gym today because I am sore. I went Tuesday and Wednesday, and my hamstrings said no thank you to the gym today. So it's really awkward to vlog in your car at work, because then your coworkers are literally right next to you getting into their cars as you're talking to the camera, and it makes you look a little bit insane. And I'm gonna hope that this person doesn't see me talking, but they definitely do. But we're just gonna continue to talk, you and I. Everything is fine. But look how beautiful the lighting is. And do you know why that is? It's because the sun is setting, and it's 5 p.m. Inside of a dumpster. I shake my head in refusal, but he gives me a look that I'm sure has won him many women over his illustrious career in manufacturing. It's like 7:45 and I'm hitting a wall. I just did I think it was probably around 30-minute sprint. So I had my timer set for 25 minutes and then I got like 20 minutes into the sprint and the words that I was dictating were just like nothing. Like they turned into soup, and I was like, okay, I need to look at my outline and figure out what's happening next, because that was what was happening as I was coming up to this point. I'm like, I'm just saying words now. Which is one of the things that I'm finding with dictation, is that if I don't have a really, really clear idea of what happens next in the scene, it slows me down. And that's really the only time that I found to like start dictating random words that aren't good. Because I think that was my like hesitation or fear with dictation, was that I would just start saying sentences that like weren't even like anything. They were just nothing, you know? And so I caught myself doing that a little bit, and I was like, okay, let's take a breath. Let's look at the outline. Let's move on. So then I did probably another like 8 to 10 minutes after that, after kind of looking at things. And I'm at about 2160 words, which again, like what the heck? But what I think is really interesting, and I'm finding to be not the downfall, but I think it's a give and take. Like you can't get these huge word counts, which I've in this short amount of time, like I did 30 minutes and I'm at 2160 words. That's insane. I've found that this is the thing that like it feels like my truest form as a writer is dictating. Like this is like what comes the most naturally to me. Like the words just come. And like, obviously there's pitfalls like I was talking about, but it's like, I've never written like this before. But I think that the downside of dictating that I'm finding is that you really have to be clear about where you're going, because if you take too long of a pause, like it stops dictating. But also I feel like I'm moving through the story too quickly, not in terms of word count, but in terms of like me as a person. Like I'm writing this book for the first time, like I roughly know where it goes, but I haven't been with these characters for very long. I don't know them very well. And so when I'm dictating so quickly, like I'm already 7,000 words into this book, which is what? That's like pretty far into the book. And I feel like I just haven't spent enough like physical time. But it was interesting. The writing from today was definitely weaker than the writing from yesterday, but I think that's mostly to do with the fact that I'm writing from a male POV, which I've never done before. And also that the things that they're talking about are things that I just like am not as familiar with. Like two dudes in a parking lot, sales, like, which is like not me. If you can't, like, who would have thought? I'm not an expert at sales bro talk, whatever. The scene went a different direction because of like the description that I had chosen to use. And I was like, why am I harping in on that? And then I was like, oh, well, that would be an interesting thing to happen at the end of this chapter. Moral of the story is I liked the ideas that sparked during dictation for this scene. Like I like the way that the scene is going right now. More than I had it outlined and I didn't even technically veer away from the outline. I just enhanced the scene and like with another connection point for my two main characters to meet again before their like official meeting a couple chapters later, which I think is good. It's just not where I was expecting the scene to go. And so like, as I was talking, I felt like I was doing something wrong because I was like, why are you talking about that? Where are you going? But then I realized, no, this is just where the scene is going. And I liked it, but it was like, I liked it on reflection. Like as I was writing, I was like, this is weird. Like, what am I talking about? Am I losing my coherence on day 2? Who knows? But I have the ending of that scene still to do, but I think I'm gonna wait until tomorrow because I want the flow between that scene and the next scene to be really, like, I feel like I want to go straight from one to the other. I feel like my perception of words is like going away because I used to be so clear about like, this is how long, this is what it feels like to write 1,667 words. Like this is what it feels like, this is what it looks like. And now I feel like because it looks so different and the amount of times that it takes me is so different, it's so weird. It's this strange cognitive dissonance. I'm happy about the words that I got in. It definitely was not as easy as yesterday though. I feel like after yesterday I was like, this is gonna be the easiest NaNoWrimo of my life. Like what the heck? Like I'm gonna write 50,000 words in a day. But anyway, let me know what your word count is, how everything's going for you. Have you run into any story snags yet? Because I feel like sometimes for me, I know exactly what that first scene looks like. And then the second one, I'm like, oh, thanks for coming along with me today. And I will see you tomorrow.